Hey, welcome to the video. Today's video is a little bit different. It's going to be a roundup of my thoughts on film photography in 2024. It's not necessarily an overview, but it's kind of my experience of film photography in 2024 and touches on some of the bases and some of the big news stories from the year as well. As you know, this isn't my usual setup. I'm just trying a different camera setup this time and just seeing if that works, because I do spend a lot of my time sat in this car, so if I can use it as a portable YouTube studio, then it may as well make sense. So I think 2024 has actually been quite a good year for film photography. I don't know if it was good as 2023 maybe, but I think there's been a lot of positives to take from it. I think there's been a lot of new products coming to the market. There's positive signs of growth. There's a lot of new little businesses popping up, which is always a healthy sign. People are engaging, and you're sort of starting to see film photography leak over into sort of mainstream a bit more as well, which is good. I mean, it's a bit like the vinyl revival of a few years ago, which is still going strong, where you're going into sort of normal everyday shops and then you're seeing like disposable film cameras on the shelves. Like I was in TK Maxx and seen a disposable film camera for sale, which is like, I sort of didn't expect to see that. The first section of this video, I'm going to just talk about some of the positive things that I've encountered this year in film photography and give my thoughts on it. So I think I just wanted to talk about, I think Harman Phoenix was one. Even though it came out last year, I didn't get to shoot it until this year, and of course this year the medium format version came out of it, and I think it's overall got a mixed response. I think everyone's sort of been positive about it just because of what it signifies and stands for. But the actual film itself, I think people have sort of been a bit indifferent to, but I gotta be honest, when I shot it on 35mm, I mean, I can see it's an acquired taste, but I really enjoyed it. I really like that sort of look it gave. Obviously it's not pristine and it's not a portrait rival by any extent, but it's a vibe. It is a vibe. I did really enjoy that. And I think we've also seen in last year there's a lot more sort of colour emulsions coming to the market. I mean, there's obviously the ones which are rebranded Vision 3 rolls, but I mean that's also, it just, that's gives more options to the consumer, even though it's not totally new, but it's always a healthy sign when you see like more new businesses coming into play. Also there's Fujifilm doing stuff, good stuff. It's repackaged Kodak slide film, but I think more slide film the better really. I think it's also been a good year for film cameras. We've seen a lot of new cameras launched in 2024. The Pentax 17, I think is really interesting. It doesn't necessarily give me gas, but I think what it's doing is actually really, really interesting, because it's trying to appeal not to necessarily the people who've been in the game for a while like I have, or longer, but people who are perhaps a little bit newer to it, coming from it from a more digital background, a younger background, something where they want that sort of point and shoot sort of feel, but they want a bit more settings to adjust, and it's that stepping stone into photography. And obviously just being able to bring a totally new camera like that to the market is exciting. To be fair, the Polaroid camera that came out, that seems really cool, but until they fix the issues with the Polaroid film itself, where it's just quite inconsistent, then I don't know, I'm team Instax in that regard. I'm team Instax. But I do like the fact you can go a bit weird with it for the settings, like the lomography instant cameras, where you can just mess around with it and just literally whatever your imagination can come up with. I think it's really exciting. Film does seem to be growing. The market as a whole does seem to be growing, but there's a weird thing. Is it a bubble? I hope not. It's a bubble, but I'm pivoting from perhaps positive to maybe the negative in this, and taking me into the next segment. because surrounding film prices and stuff like that. And Kodak, they almost have close to a monopoly on film stocks and film emulsions because how big they are. And obviously they've got the dyad, whereas Eastman Kodak actually doing the production and making cinema stocks, but also the consumer level stocks. But then you've got Kodak Alaris being a distributor, being the middleman almost. And Kodak Alaris has been bought this year by a private equity firm, and I don't necessarily know much about the actual firm that bought it, and I don't really know much about their intentions, but it's a potential red flag if there is one. Those who live in the UK will know that, like, the high street, a lot of high street retailers have been bought by private equity firms, and it doesn't always end well for those brands. So these equity firms, they're prioritising profit, they're in their own margins and their portfolio, and it's all very corporate. So are they just going to sort of rinse Kodak Alaris for profit, cut corners perhaps where they can, maybe screw over the consumer and perhaps lose consumers in the process, just to, you know, raise the share price and then maybe sell it in 5-10 years? I hope that isn't the plan. I hope they've just bought it just as an addition to their portfolio. Maybe let Kodak Alaris do what they do, maybe bring a bit more organisation to it, maybe even bring more value to consumers. But yeah, to be honest, I don't know enough about that sort of thing to know if it's a good or bad thing, but it's sort of something to watch, and that could be, we might see the start of that story unfold in 2025 really. But I think it'd be that, and maybe sort of like environmental concerns that might hinder the growth of film photography. But it's a little bit similar to the vinyl market, because there's challenges in that market, but that market's grown. It's just, can the manufacturers keep up with the demand really? So let's move on to the next segment, which is more, I guess, personal, on a personal level, from my own film photography. I think this year's been a good year photography wise, because I've taken a lot of photos which I've been really, really happy with. But there's a lot of photos that I haven't even seen yet. I shot a load of rolls over the summer and I haven't got developed. Why? So I just can't afford to. I can't afford to get them developed. Also, I haven't got a medium format scanning setup at the moment, so I got rid of my scanner and I'm shifting to camera scanning. But there's a reason for that, and it's kind of the reason why I haven't been as regularly putting out videos in the last couple of months. Because essentially, I've been freelance for like the last 7 years, but it's came to summer this year, essentially I lost my job, basically, and work dried up. Normally something always pops up, and those who are self-employed sort of can attest to that. But this stage, work dried up, savings got used, the usual tricks to, you know, keep stuff afloat wasn't working, and I had to get a regular job. Like, I had to, not even a regular job that's my profession. I had to get, I'm now in currently a minimum wage job. I'm still doing freelance bits on the side, but again, I thought the work would sort of pick back up, and it's just trickling over. And so this is like the first time since I was a uni student where I've had to go back to earn a minimum wage, and it's been tough. Yeah, it's just been difficult, because obviously I'm trying to live my life as an adult now, like, but on minimum wage. When you're a student, it's a bit different. Temporary, it is temporary. I got some things in January which actually, it's positive signs really. So hopefully I can go back to my old habits of shooting more film and developing more film. But that's probably is one of the reasons why I haven't been able to put out videos as regularly as I like, because just I ain't got the time. So I'm working more hours now, working more hours for lower pay, just to balance it out. Yeah, and I had the idea to make the zine, and to be honest, I think it came out of just wanting to do something creative. So I've spent the last 7 years being a day-to-day full-time creative, and then sort of go into a job where it's not that in the slightest, and any chance you get, you want to be creative, you want to be productive. So making this scene, it's taken its time to come together, but the idea is formed now. I think I'm at the point where I just need to pull all the stuff together and then curate it. So I got a direction for it, which is positive. Actually, earlier this week, I've still got my studio, which is good. I've clung on to that with every last ounce of strength I have, just so I know, because I've got that creative retreat. I was in there making some bits for it. So I'm literally just making random bits for it, and then I'm gonna pick the best bits to put together and leave out whatever the rest is. I think that's how I like to sort of make things sometimes, as opposed to I was gonna sort of design it and then drag in and drop stuff, but it's sort of working back the wrong way around then by doing that. But yeah, so obviously I'm going to carry on making. So looking forward to 2025. I want to grow this channel even more. I want to somehow find some consistency in putting out these videos, but obviously work's dictating a lot of my schedule, so finding, say, a regular day in the week where I can just film is quite tricky. Especially these past 2 months, it's just been the Christmas rush, so it's been nigh on impossible to do that. But yeah, if you want to see more of my actual adventures, more of me taking photography, check out some other videos. I got some good ones in the pipe work. There's going to be more sort of artist-based videos as well. I'm making one on Saw Lighter. I need to record that. The script is done for that. And yeah, hope you all have not sure when's this going to go out. I don't know if it's going to be before or after Christmas, but hope you had a good Christmas. Hope you have a good New Year, and yeah, keep shooting. See you in the next one.